In today's video, you're going to discover how to use ChatGPT to create content that attracts your ideal clients. And if you stay until the end, I'm going to share with you a 60-minute training for free from a friend of mine who's a brilliant marketer on how to use ChatGPT to write email copy that sells. So if you have an email list and you want to convert subscribers to buyers, or you have a social media following and you want to convert followers to buyers, then definitely stick around to the end of this video to get access to that 60-minute training. So before I share with you how to use ChatGPT, let me just put a big disclaimer out there, because there's so many coaches and so many marketers that are using ChatGPT incorrectly. They go onto ChatGPT and they say, I want you to write for me an email on this topic, or I want you to write a video script about this topic. And usually the feedback that you get from ChatGPT, it's okay, but it kind of sucks. And so you don't want to do that and be viewed like everyone else. You can see this copy all over the place now, and it's only going to get worse. So if you want to be like everyone else, then go ahead and do that. If you want to be unique and differentiate yourself and actually start attracting clients, then follow what I'm about to recommend now instead. So here's key number one to leverage ChatGPT. Key number one is to know that the better that you interview ChatGPT, the better that you ask questions, the more valuable the response is going to be. So you see, if you ask a bad question, if you give it a bad prompt, then you're going to get a bad response. Think about it, it's garbage in, garbage out, like any software, but even more so on AI and ChatGPT. So you've got to be really thoughtful and really strategic on what prompts and what questions you're asking. This is what we call prompt engineering. And so right now what I'm going to do is share with you my 3 best prompts that I use to get some incredible content for attracting leads. So here's the first type of prompt. I call it a role-based prompt. Write that down, role-based prompt. And it's doing a role-based prompt for customer insights and market research. Before I ever ask ChatGPT to create a piece of content for me, I first want to feed to it and I give it the best customer insights of, here is who my ideal client is. Here is who is reading this email or watching this video. Here's who this is for. Because the better ChatGPT understands that, the better the content is that they create. If you're unclear on that, so let's say, for example, you're a coach. If you're unclear on your niche and you're just asking for general life coaching stuff, it's going to produce really sub-quality stuff. But if you know specifically who your ideal client is, their frustrations, their pain points, how they feel, how they think, now you feed that to ChatGPT and magic happens. So here's an exact prompt that I use. And feel free to write this down after the video. Act as a customer. So I just have customer in brackets. So you would fill that in with your niche. So act as a customer struggling with problem. So you insert your customer and your problem. And then say, tell me how you feel, what your challenges are, what pain you're experiencing mentally, emotionally, and financially, and what you want to feel better. Now, here's an example of what that template looks like. Let's say that you coach corporate executives who work in high-stress environments in corporate America. So I would say something like, act as a corporate executive struggling with the high-stress demands of a corporate career that often lead to burnout. Tell me how you feel, what your challenges are, what pain you're experiencing mentally, emotionally, and financially, and what you want to feel better. When I gave this prompt to ChatGPT, the response it gave me was mind-blowing. It literally felt like I was entering the conversation happening in these executives' minds. I felt like I knew better than they did what was keeping them up at night. And ChatGPT gave me all the language for it, just from that one single prompt. That's a role prompt. So notice I said, act as this person. So that's a great thing to follow and a great thing to model after, okay? The second type of prompt is what I call a data-fed prompt. And a data-fed prompt is where you give it data. So let's say that you give it a sample sales letter or a sample email or sample customer data to model its response after. I learned this technique from a brilliant marketer and entrepreneur named Roland Frazier. So Roland, if you're watching this, you get credit for this. If you guys aren't following Roland, check him out. He's brilliant. But the example that he gave is he wanted to write a sales letter for a course that he was launching. And he wanted to sell a course on how to improve your marriage, where the sales letter, here's the prompt that he wrote. So that's what he did. He went to ChatGPT. This was during the holidays too. And he ended up doing this and he made $250,000 literally over the holidays through this one thing. So he went to ChatGPT, he goes, okay, I don't want to pay a copywriter tens of thousands of dollars to write a sales letter. I'm going to leverage AI and see what I can do. So his prompt is this: write a sales letter to sell a course on how to improve your marriage, where the sales letter you write is of equal length and based upon the following example. And so he inserts the following example: the Wall Street Journal's Two Young Men letter. And then he pastes the content from that sales letter. Now, the Two Young Men letter from Wall Street Journal, I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but this is the highest performing sales letter in history, one of the highest performing. So he wanted to just model that and create an entirely different sales letter on a new product, which was a How to Improve Your Marriage course. And it was incredibly valuable to do that, okay? So that's one way to use a data-fed prompt. Another way is that in my previous example where I asked about corporate executives and what they feel, and it gave me back this whole description of, you know, how they felt mentally, emotionally, physically, what they wanted, all that stuff. I took that and I fed that information back to ChatGPT before I asked for my next piece of content. And so my prompt was, take the description above, which is everything that ChatGPT gave me, into consideration, and brainstorm 10 YouTube video titles limited to 55 characters that would capture the attention of a corporate executive. Struggling with the high stress demands of a corporate career, form the titles in the following format: how to and listicles. So obviously I know a little bit about YouTube. I know that my titles need to be less than 55 characters. I know that how to and listicles work really well. So I gave those parameters in the prompt asking for YouTube title ideas. And the first two titles that I got from YouTube I thought were gold. Title number one is 5 Signs You're Headed Towards Executive Burnout. Now, I don't know if you've ever been an executive or worked in corporate, but if you've ever experienced burnout and you're an executive and you were scrolling through YouTube one night and you saw a really captivating thumbnail photo and the title, 5 Signs You're Headed Towards Executive Burnout, don't you think you would click on that YouTube video? You would. And so that's a magical, very powerful, listicle title that ChatGPT gave me. The second title is How to Delegate Effectively and Reduce Stress. Knowing that delegation is one of the biggest responsibilities of an executive, but struggling with letting go of control and delegating properly to reduce stress is a problem. So that's a topic, a title of one of the how-to YouTube videos. Again, I could not have come up with that from ChatGPT had I not fed it back the data of the initial question that I had, which was the customer insights. So the last key is what we call prompt chaining. And prompt chaining is basically asking several prompts to get a better result. So again, keep in mind that when you go from role-based prompt to data-fed prompt and then the next prompt, that's what's called prompt chaining or prompt engineering. So the skill that I want you to build is not to look for the best prompt to ask, but to understand the psychology behind these prompts. Because again, the more that you can chunk down, the more that you can feed back data and tell them, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, this is what works, the better the response is and the value you get from ChatGPT. And then most importantly, ChatGPT is not going to replace your intelligence. So make sure to think for yourself and think before, during, and after the process. So even with great prompts, there's still editing to be done on a final piece of content. So almost never does my first response from ChatGPT be something that I accept. Usually I take it and I say, okay, I need to have this improvement or whatever, and then I still edit it and put my voice into it. Now this is a time-consuming process, but it saves way much more time than me sitting blindly in front of a blank sheet of paper hoping that magic appears out of thin air, right? So think for yourself before, during, and after to really know how to leverage ChatGPT to create content that attracts your ideal clients. Now, how specifically, I'm curious, have you used ChatGPT to create your own content? Leave me a comment below and let me know what you've done, what prompts you've had, or how you've used it to create content that grows your coaching business. Now, before I wrap up this video, can you do me a quick favor? I found out recently that only 71% of people that are watching my videos are subscribed, which is way too low. And I just asked for a favor, and that is, if you got value from this, if you got one little nugget of wisdom that you're going to apply and it's going to produce results for you, then please take a moment to subscribe to my channel right now so that you never miss a future video, because I put a lot of time and effort into this, and that's the only thing that I ask from you. I do all this stuff for free. And then if you, now that you're subscribed, make sure to check out my next video, which is the 60-minute training that I promised. So remember, I said that if you stay until the end, I'm going to give you a free 60-minute training from my friend who's a brilliant marketer on how to use ChatGPT to write email copy or social media copy that sells. So click up here, watch that video now, and I'll see you in the next video.